Hey, good morning, everybody. How we doing out there? August 31st, Monday morning. A few minutes behind. Had to do my reboot, get everything ready for you so we don't have those awkward freeze flash moments here. Hope everybody's doing good. Give me a couple of knocks out there. If you've got me, there we are, guy, coming in right away with the knocks. Thank you very much. Boy, we got a busy day. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Hope you had a fantastic weekend out there. I know the weather here in Cincinnati was great. Got to get out, relax a little bit, do what we're supposed to do. Enjoy life, and then come back and trade hard on Monday through Friday. Sometimes Monday through Thursday or Friday morning. It's great to see everybody, though. Great to be with you. As always, I always tell you guys that this is fun. This is one of the best parts of my day. You got sound good. Hopefully you got good sound. Everything is good. We're going to go straight to the slides. I'm going to keep it simple today, as I usually try to say I'm going to do. Good morning from Milwaukee. That's got to be a little cold. Nah, maybe not. I think we're 65 here this morning in Cincinnati. Going to be a beautiful day. But anyhow, let's take a look at what we're going to talk about. As always, we're going to hit the news and the headlines. Not really that much going on in the trading world unless you're watching what Warren Buffett was doing over the weekend, putting some money into Japan. Obviously, you've got some fiscal or some stimulus going on also overseas in Asia. We're going to trade the upgrades and the downgrades. Man, the analysts, good morning. The analysts were busy over the weekend. One of the stocks will not surprise you that we got a lot of activity on. A couple will, but one of them actually was on my StrikePoint list when I was running all my models last night, and that's going to turn into a StrikePoint stock of the day for you. So analyst activity plus a little bit of StrikePoint activity for you. And then, as promised, we're going to start talking about alternative energy this week. I am going to kick it off with my favorite alternative ETF. I'm calling it the Gateway investment into the alternative energy area. We talk so much about Plug Power and Ballard and Enfi and all of these companies that are, the individuals. I have a lot of people that ask me about ETFs. I've got an ETF model that I use regularly for portfolios. And one of those questions I get is there a favorite alternative? I'm going to share it with you today. And then obviously, as always, we're going to get on to questions, answers, charts. Love the questions that we got last week. They were just great. A lot focusing on trading and some actual, what am I trying to say? Some portfolio questions. It was just really nice. It was a great conversation Friday. If you didn't catch it, make sure you go back and look at the stream replay. So new week, same stories. Upward movement remains intact. We're seeing futures about 25 points higher on the Dow right now. They've been bouncing around a little bit, not too much though. It's just got a nice even keel run to the market this morning. Asia markets reacted positively to Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett announcing that he's investing more heavily in Japan and fiscal stimulus. So we're seeing those markets that were trading higher as well as Europe. Same underlying factors are in play right now. Mega cap leadership. Watch this mega cap leadership, especially today, when you've got these two down here with their activity. Finally it's here. They're creating all kinds of value by splitting. Not. Anyhow, I'll get that in a second. Coronavirus optimism this morning. We're seeing headlines from GlaxoSmithKline and a few of the biotech companies about drugs that are moving into from stage 2 to stage 3, and really starting to target a look at the first half of 2021 as when we're going to see a vaccine coming down the pipeline. Supportive Fed policy. Obviously, we heard from the Fed last week, and the Fed is telling us, Jerome Powell, in a great, I'm not sure if he is still on right now. Let me see. Mr. Lee Cooperman is on CNBC this morning and talking about the market. And he is still on. I'm seeing that he's still, it looks like, on my feed, talking about the market. And one of the great quotes that they had about Mr. Fed policy, Jerome Powell, was that our president should be kissing all 4 of his cheeks because of the policy that he came out with yesterday, saying basically they're going to keep rates at 0 as long as they have to. I I don't know how you pull a quote like that off on live TV, but that was really funny. And I guess you have to be Lee Cooperman to do it. Anyhow, regardless of how you feel about that comment, and I sort of felt a little mixed about it. It was funny, but at the same time, it's exactly true. This is the Fed chief that was supposedly in line to get not removed, but certainly they were looking at ways to get move him along. And now he's become one of the best catalysts for this market with the Fed policy last week at Jackson Hole, saying that he's going to keep interest rates low. Expectations for more fiscal relief continue. Everybody's talking about the unemployment checks, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to get a look at the jobs report on Friday. That may put more pressure on this subject. You got to wait a little bit, though. We're not seeing the talks moving forward. And then, of course, that last one, I've got Apple and Tesla. Finally, they're going to trade. They're trading this morning. If you're looking at Tesla at Apple and saying, oh my gosh, I can buy Apple for $125. This is a great deal. You can buy Tesla for $447. Guys, this is just simple math. Divide by 4, divide by 5. Nothing's being created here except that psychological or that behavioral trading idea that right now you can buy them cheaper or more of a value. And that's going to lead to some higher trading. I do think that Apple's probably extended itself well beyond where it's going to go. And I think we're going to see probably a 5 to 10% pullback after everybody gets done with this, that fake high, if you will, that hopium of those trading lower. I'm going on too much about those. You may be correct about that, JF there. The go away in May is clearly not in play, closing out the best August in 30 years for the market. Let's look at that market exactly, which is, I'm not saying go away in September, August, the last 2 weeks. I've been telling you guys, it all comes down to the numbers for me, even though it hasn't played out. August, the last 2 weeks, most volatile, and it leads into the most volatile month. Right now, we saw the S&P 500 close above that 3,500 level. We're starting to, it is easier to sell Tesla at this point as well. You can short sell it if you like. You know what I tell you about that, though. You don't want to short Tesla. And Elon Musk is just, forget about it. The stories over the weekend about the chips that he's now looking for test subjects for in terms of, the test subject for a chip to put in your brain. Just Elon Musk, guys, don't bet against him. 3,500 on the S&P 500. We're starting to get overextended. Watch that round number. I tell you, one of the simplest trading rules out there, and I mean it whenever I say it. Zeros. The more zeros you see, S&P 500, 3,500, the more zeros you see behind a number, the more of a psychological effect that you have on a stock. It's the same thing that we talk about with Tesla and Apple coming down in price. There's a psychology behind zeros. S&P 500 trading at 3,500. I think you're going to see a little bit of a resistance here, a little dance as we move around that number. We can move higher, but remember, earnings as a catalyst are kind of out of the way. We're going to see a few more companies here that are going to announce. It's all small cap at this point, though. Some more retailers that'll come down the line, and obviously, I mentioned that Adobe's kind of that end, that punctuation point of that period for earnings season. I think that's what you're going to see here. And as that goes away, unless we get something bigger, huge, I think the market's going to find this as the opportunity to pull back from that 3,500 level. But I have been wrong in the past on these. Look at 3,100, the way it held the S&P 500 also. Round numbers, watch them. Overbought on the RSI. If I am long the S&P 500 with the SPY shares, which I am actually in a retirement plan, I'm looking to maybe start to look at trailing stop losses on that are tight, because the S&P 500 doesn't wiggle around as much as some of the other stocks we talk about. Here's your picture of the VIX. Friday, perfect test of that 50-20 day again. Look at how we're trading between those two lines. I keep telling you guys, volatility's coming. I didn't fail. We didn't hit the mark on the last trade, the last volatility trade. Next one's going to be a break above that 50-day moving average. 2 days is what you want to look for on a close. And then you're looking at a volatility play that's going to take you to 32, 35 on the VIX. September being the most volatile month of the year. Remember that. And as I look forward to the calendar, reading the comment from ZB here, you are correct. Psychological effect. Everybody's going to buy, and people will say They'll blame it on the split too. They'll say, well, the split was good, and splits aren't bad for stocks. It's just they're confusing for some because they think that they'd create that value. Light economic data this week. This is a situation where you are looking at not a vacuum, and obviously Friday's got our jobs report. We're going to see that jobs report. It's going to be huge. Until then, the only thing that people are going to look at tomorrow, ISM numbers. On Tuesday, you're going to see all three, Ford, GM, Toyota Motors, and everybody else are going to come out and report their sales numbers, their auto sales numbers. This is going to be a big number to watch because look at where they are on the charts. We'll go to the big chart here for a second real quickly. All of these stocks have taken an opportunity to rally higher right now. Ford doesn't want to break above that $7 level. 200-day moving average. You're going to notice a common denominator here with all three of these right now. Ford sitting at $7. Still think it's going to hit that $6 mark. That was my call ahead of their earnings. Obviously, the stock has avoided that. You've got a law of low numbers coming into place here, as well as a little bit of a sideways trading range. But that's a big range when you look at it. If you look at Ford right now, trading here in a 10% range. 10%, you can make money on that range. It's tightening though, so it's a little bit of a noose here. 200-day at play, and then you go over to GM and you're going to see the same chart. There it is, 200-day moving average in play at $30. And then Toyota Motors, TM is the ticker symbol for Toyota, 200-day. And the stock has kind of been petering out here, doing a little bit of a volatility dance above that 200-day. I like the Toyota chart. Obviously, they're knocking it out of the park with their truck sales. They're beating Ford right now in terms of truck sales and popularity. But look at that stock chart. 20-day going above the 200-day. If I got to stick with one of these companies through this week's numbers, it is Toyota Motors. Ford and GM, we'll call it not dead money, but certainly trading sideways here. Biotech activity, unusual activity, option. I'll take a look at the biotech unusual option activity there. But when you look at biotech, the XBI, and I didn't want to get into the charts this early, but that's what we love to talk about. XBI has been falling off, and one of this has to do with somewhat of the headline news coming down from COVID-19. We've not seen as much headline activity in these companies. And when we look at AstraZeneca, AZN, that is that company that I'm long out until the end of the year on right now, right at the 50-day moving average, waiting for headlines to drive some of those biotech stocks higher. Let me get back to the slides here, though, so we can get down to the bottom of the patch here where I start to talk about charts and all of that. I don't want to get myself too excited on a Monday morning for you guys. ISM data is actually Tuesday, not this morning. That should give the market the directional play that we're going to see in the afternoon. Analysts were busy, as I said, giving us some trading fodder to look at. And let's do that right now. RKT, Rocket Companies, newly IPO'd just a few weeks ago. Everybody went bonkers. Stock went up. $27, came back down almost to its IPO price, $18 there. And then you see it shoot up to 30, come back down. All the analysts jumping into the stock. Obviously, it is a situation where the analysts wait. They've got their quiet period. Now they're all getting noisy. There were almost 24 analyst comments, upgrades, initiations, etc. on RKT over the weekend. This is a stock that is in a sweet spot, folks. I don't like to look at IPOs. You'll notice that there are no lines here. There are no trend lines. There's nothing to look at except that $18, that $26.50, that $30, and then that $26.50 again. Up to a top, back down, up to a top, breaks up, support at that $26.50. You can't even pull an RSI on a 14-day basis on this. But if you did, and you get that little nub right there, it's obviously going overbought. $30 takes it out right now. And I look at this stock as one that's going to run up to $35 pretty quickly here. And then we'll see a sawtooth action rally start to kick in on this IPO. When you look at it, though, this is the most heavily favored analyst stock of the day. When I looked at all of my news feeds, this stock is going to have legs to move higher after that 35 and then pull back to 30, maybe 28.50. That's where you buy it again. Hold on to it till 35, 3% stop loss. Look for the sawtooth rally and then up and down, up and down. This has been one of those stocks that also is in a favored sweet spot of the market for me, which is why I follow up with my own chart of Zillow. Zillow, the company, obviously selling online, getting us to look at those the houses online, actually facilitating sales, buying houses themselves now as well. Out of Atlanta, they've got a group that'll buy your house for cash. So really going different directions here. 87.5 on Zillow. This stock continues to move until year end, over $100 by the end of the year. 105 or so is easier. This is a investor's stock and a trader's stock. I always like to make that determination since it's been brought up. I'll hit that stock at the end here. TRVN, we'll look at a couple of the others. 87.5 though breaks through here. This stock's on its way to 100, 105 over the next, I believe, the next quarter. We'll see another earnings report that was a good report from Zillow. That's a ways off though, but that's a follow-up to your rocket. This is a trinity of real estate for you right now. Don't look at the real estate investment trusts, but the other stock that follow-up is Redfin. RDFN, 48 bucks, getting ready to pop through that $50 level, 20 and 50 day giving you that friendly trend. You're about to get overbought, but this stock gets overbought and continues to go. June being a perfect example. And this is when the stock really started swinging and hitting its stride. Maybe you're firing on 4 or 5 cylinders here, but they went up to 8 cylinders here when they broke through 30 bucks. And also we got through that. Everybody figured out how they were going to start looking at houses online. A little bit less activity from the analysts and a little bit less in the buy category on the analysts. And that's because we've seen it go a little less upward trend here as it was going sideways after their earnings report in August. But nonetheless, this stock's more of an investor. It's a slower burn. Love it until the year end. Both of these stocks go well with Rocket. If I am your stock sommelier, and I just thought of that off the top of my head, I'm going to have to actually put that down on a piece of paper and maybe write it on the legal pad. If I am your stock sommelier, I am pairing Rocket with all of the analyst upgrade activities with Redfin and Zillow. And I think you're going to have a good meal. You're going to enjoy that little flight of stocks there. Man, I'm on fire now today with the analogy. Let's move it on. CSX got upgraded to overweight from equal weight at Stevens. Target raised to $93. I believe that target's going to be attainable before the end of the year. You've got a situation with CSX where it is in that group of stocks that are in the transports that are not yet hitting on all cylinders. Look at it, the resistance at 76. This is why you're seeing analysts now come out with an upgrade on the stock, because especially Stevens are a little more technically biased there. You've got a 76 print that's getting taken out. You've got the trucking companies, the rail companies are going to follow up with those. And then eventually we're going to get the airlines. If you look at Spirit Airlines, SAVE, they came out this morning, on Friday. And we can look at that stock chart real quickly here. SAVE is Spirit Airlines. They came out and actually gave us an upgrade to their outlook as they get towards working their way through this quarter. Some of the airlines now are going to start to give us a little bit better news. And when that happens, you're going to see the IYP, which is already lead the market even more. You've got trucks going, you've got rail going, when we get airline traffic going again, and I don't think that comes back up until next year, 2021. But we're going to start to see green shoots here, folks. You're going to hear a lot over the next couple of weeks because of the fact that those airline companies are going to be announcing more cost cutting in the way of getting rid of some of their personnel because of the PPP going away. So the fact that they haven't lobbied enough to get the money is telling you that, hey, we're still going to see some bumps. But remember, those positives, those fundamental positives, give fuel to the stocks to go up. CSX raised from overweight 76. I like the stock to hit 85 over the next 4 to 6 weeks or so. Gives you a nice trade. And this one's actually a little bit of a sawtooth, especially for a transport. You look at the 72 down to 70. You can play this on a technical basis. The overbought is going to give you a little bit of a couple of days worth of resistance. We'll pull back down again. This one's going to stay up in this higher air, this stratosphere for a little while. Pins love Pinterest, you know that, and all the COVID-19 stocks are going to come back as we make our way towards the cold and flu season and allergy season, and everybody's going to start to freak out. And we're all going to be buying stuff from, we're going to be looking at Pinterest for things to buy for the holiday season, and We're going to be buying it on eBay, and we're going to be buying it on a few of those other onliners, Etsy, that I like. Cowen upgraded Marvell. I bring this up because we talked about it on Friday. Market perform from underperform. They are looking at the 5G infrastructure and how Marvell is coming out actually on Friday and gave us good news on the earnings report and a good outlook right now. If you're looking for semis that are not overbought, that are not companies like, and if we look at the XSD, we talked about this for the last couple of weeks, sideways activity in the semiconductor. Some of that is because you've got companies like NVIDIA that have come out with their earnings. They didn't sell off. They actually got a nice pop on Friday, but just kind of moved sideways. Usually they sell off. You can see where I was telling you I thought it would come back down to 440. That's why that line is there, and that's why I keep it there, because 440 is that target I put out. But at the same time, we saw a breakout on Friday. Good news on the semiconductors. When you look at that Marvell technology breaking through 39 bucks, this has actually seen some shorts coming into it as well. 45 to 50 bucks over the next 4 to 6 weeks or so. Marvell's going to shake off this overbought. Lots of activity coming in. The analyst upgrades are going to get more people moving into this as well. Zillow, you've seen so many charts. I can tell you what they may look like in my, welcome to my world, Jerry. Welcome to my world. When you wake up in the middle of the night and you're thinking about stock charts, that's not, it's either a really good place or it's a really bad place. I keep the computer next to me at the bed though. And here we go. The final one initiated with an outperform is Virgin Galactic. Virgin Galactic pulling back to its 200-day moving average here over the last few weeks. Remember, they've gone through some problems here trying to raise cash. The Virgin Group has, and it's kind of put a little dispersion. And you've got SpaceX that's really throwing stuff. They're throwing satellites up into space like, I don't know, like they're throwing them up daily. So you've got Virgin Galactic that's kind of been behind in this race, but getting a little respect as it bounces off the 200-day moving average. This is what puts it on the list. And it isn't a StrikePoint stock yet, but that 20-day is going to start to move up. The stock's open at above 18 bucks today on that upgrade. It's going to be up about 4 or 5%. We're going to break up towards that 19 range. Watch it as it hits that $19 level, because that is where this goes into a StrikePoint stock. The 20-day will be trading higher from that point, and that's when it shoots to $24 according to my model right now. It turns into a little bit of a very short-term parabolic move, as we saw here in the beginning of July. I think you're going to get a nice, try not to say takeoff, guys. I'm really trying hard not to say, but the stock takes off from that $19 to 24. You get a quick $5 run out of that stock, which gives you more than 20% on it. That's a nice trade, and this is going to be a situation where the stock, I think, is going to get even more attention from an analyst group that has not been giving it the attention of others. Space, SPCE, Virgin Galactic, write it down. We're going to be trading it over the next couple of weeks. Joe, let me get to that question and just throw that up in the Q&A. Make sure you're putting those questions. Joe is busy today. He's had a lot of coffee like me. Make sure you're putting these in the Q&A, because that's coming up in just a second. The trading calendar, I don't know why that's in there. We've already done it. Alternative energy. We've got another 20 minutes or so. We got about 20 minutes. So we're going to get into some of these Q&A and then those charts as well. So Joe, make sure you get those questions in there. Alternative energy week. I talked about this last week. I love the idea of us talking alternative energy for a week. It's going to be some simple stuff, and then it's going to be more trade related, stock related stuff. Plug Power has been our favorite. It's been my favorite. I've been telling you every time. I've nailed this stock. I had this stock nailed down to the almost dollar here, which isn't that hard when it's trading at lower dollars the way it is. But nonetheless, you've been able to do well on the sawtooth strategies with the Plug Power. But there are others out there. Ballard right now, which I call its not as attractive cousin, but starting to get a little bit of attention, and Wall Street starting to date this stock a little bit more. You've also got alternative energies when we talk about NEO, Blink, we talk about Tesla, we talk about all these others. Workhorse out with some good news this weekend. Told you Workhorse is going to be a workhorse for your portfolio, and it truly is. This is great to see a Cincinnati company that is really starting to make some waves here, but we're going to look at them all. including Nikola. We're going to look at all of this over the next week, but I wanted to start with something easy. A lot of people asking me about ETFs and how I can just buy something that's not going to be as volatile as a Ballard or as a Plug Power or Enphase or any of these, Enphase, I'm sorry, any of these, even the solar companies, First Solar right now, put that up there on my list in terms of a company that I didn't think that I would be looking at as an alternative that I like, but at the same time, it has been doing good. SunPower, all of these companies, you can bring them together and get away from company-specific headline risk, get away from some of the earnings, some of the mishaps. This is almost a biotech sector. If you look at Workhorse, one headline can actually bring it down 8, 10, 12% in one day. A lot of people don't like that volatility. What do you do in those situations? Buy an ETF. ETFs didn't used to be this easy. You used to go out and look for an ETF that would be nuclear was one of the ETFs, and you'd pay 2% in terms of a management fee. Now, because we've got an excess of ETF companies out there managing and fighting for your dollars, it's not the case anymore. You've got a lot of them that are down to 60 basis points, which is what you used to pay just to have the S&P 500 ETF, 60 beeps. So right now, I want to give you just very quickly, we're going to take a look at the ETF that I like, that I own, and full disclosure has to go into that. I own the ETF. I wouldn't tell you it was my favorite if I didn't own it, honestly. So the gateway investment is, and if we can get that to click forward, the ICLN shares. This is an iShares, obviously large ETF, global clean energy ETF. This has been obviously on a tear, doubling since the bottom in March. And this is a great representation. If you look at, let's look at Plug Power, because we talk about that so much. And this is the one that I see in my dreams. When I wake up in the middle of the night, this is the one I'm looking at. And it is the play. And you can obviously, since the middle of March here, we can go in and say, all right, well, I can do the math and say, well, it's trading at $3 in, it's trading at $13. But the actual stock is up almost 360% if we look at it and get the actual number. Do you get that type of a run with an ETF? No, not with one that is well positioned for the sector, which is what you get with the ICLN. It is a broader look at it. Plug Power is the number 2 holding in it, and we can look at the holdings here. I pulled them up. I rarely give this type of information out when we're doing these talks, but Sunrun up there at number 1 was 748, and that ticker symbol is simply RUN, one that we haven't mentioned actually maybe 2 mentions of Sunrun, and you can see how it's gone parabolic and started to give you a little bit of that sawtooth action here, trading up at $55. Like the stock to make it up to $70 here in the next probably next couple of months. This is going to be one that is going to give you an investment bang for your buck as well as a trading bang for your buck. Plug Power number 2 with the 6.68% holdings in this. These are healthy holdings. Enphase, ENPH, 5.75% of it. Solar Edge, 6.62%. First Solar, another one that I like. It's counted as a tech stock, semiconductor, but they use their monolithic, what am I trying to say? Products there for solar, making them better, obviously. So we can go down through this, and you're going to see Siemens, Meridian, some other names that are familiar. Notice you don't see Ballard here, but the ICLN gives you that great gateway to get into the alternative energy. And it is not like some of these other ETFs where you've got the top 3 holdings making up 60% of the performance. That's what gets you away from the headline risk. You'll notice also we've got some companies that are not listed. That's what that means when you see a number there, folks. It's a number, it's Chinese. It is a Chinese company, and they've got an investment in the company through a different market. You'll see a number there. That doesn't mean that you put in 968 to get the ticker symbol or to get the quote on the stock. It means it is simply a company that's not traded on our exchanges. All the others are, and you can buy those companies individually. This also serves as an awesome, just a kick butt way to go out and find companies that are in those clean areas, or if you're looking for a nuclear ETF and you want to find those nuclear companies, go to the ETFDB site and you can start to look those up and nail down and get trading ideas on the company level. So a little bit of a double whammy there for you when we look at the ETF today, ICLN. Not only a way to get into that investment area, great returns, great trends, good volatility. In most cases, I don't want to trade when I am trading ETFs, and we can look at the ICLN here on the big chart as well. I don't know why I refer to it as a big chart, probably because I have to pay for it. But you can see it is optionable. Does not have a lot of open interest. If you want to start leveraging the moves, though, you can start to look out, and you'll find that you can go out to April 2021 on these options. So another way that you can leverage that, you will find that ProShares and other companies have some leverage and some inverse ETFs that are based on clean energy as well. This is turning into a very rich area of the market, the clean energy. This is not the movement that we saw 10 years ago or 15 years ago. Plug Power was out there trading then. I owned it. It's not what you're seeing back then, where they're companies that are just simply going to be these flash in the pans and go away. Plug Power, that's what everybody thought. You said something about hydrogen power, and that's Jetsons type of stuff. Well, you know what? So are flying cars and electric cars and all of this stuff. This is something that is now turned into a long-term investment, and it's not a moonshot where you just consider putting a few bucks into it. It's going to be a very real portion of your portfolio, my portfolio, as we make it through the next 5-10 years and really see the business blow up. So there you go. Your first look at the alternative energy week here, what we're doing, ICLN, that ETF. I think everybody should take a look at it. Again, I own the shares myself. I think that it's a great way to get into the sector or the area without having to sit there and watch or wake up in the middle of the night and see images of Plug Power or Ballard and wonder why the analysts don't like something that you like. ICLN's it. All right, what strike on ICLN? That is up to you in this particular case. I think that you purchase the shares and you hold them as part of a well-rounded portfolio. I think they give you a great opportunity for some alpha generation in a portfolio. If I'm looking at managing an ETF portfolio, you've got your S&P 500, your Russell 2000, your Dow maybe in there, and then your cubes as part of your base or your foundation. And then what I call satellite positions. You've got your core and then satellite. ICLN's a great satellite position. Usually I put 5-6% of my portfolio into that, and that takes up maybe 10% of the half that I put into my satellite positions to generate alpha. This will be an alpha generator for you. An alpha portfolio. God, ZB coming in with the good stuff there. Jane, his wife. Dun, dun. Let's look at your questions, guys. You're gonna get me. At some point every day, you guys make me laugh or giggle somehow, and that's again why I like it. Let's go to the Q&A here. 18 questions. Holy cow, we're going to see a much. How much do I think DocuSign's up before earnings? You know, DocuSign is kind of one of those that's come up, and yeah, I can't put a magic ball out there and said, is it going to, you know, how far it's going to go ahead of earnings? It's really a question of, do I like the stock or not? The technicals tell me I like it. This is also one of those stocks that we look at when Zoom and a few others. DocuSign's been around for a while. Zoom, nobody's brought up, or maybe they have. I haven't seen it in the Q&A. But TikTok, what about China? Talk about, this is why, guys, I've had a rule for a long time on investments in international markets, and especially the Chinese markets. India used to be this way. If I can't put my hands on some sort of report, or if I can't count on consistency in the company, and it used to be this way with Brazil. It's opened up quite a bit now, but you used to have situations where you just didn't play with companies or play with any type of speculation on companies, because you could have a government that would come in and say, well, we own this now, or we're going to do this. That's what happened with TikTok over the weekend. We're going to see how that plays out with Microsoft. And who would have ever thought that I'd say Walmart? But with Microsoft and Walmart and Oracle and all these other names, watch this also with Fastly, because that has some, you're still going to see that business go away from Fastly at some point. But obviously I've been bullish on it, saying that they're going to fill the tank up. But I think you're going to see Fastly get a little bit of a bump, ironically, because of this move. China saying that they are going to give their final approval on what happens with TikTok. They're exerting their force. And guess what? TikTok came out and said, we're going to adhere to this. The owner of TikTok came out and said, we're going to adhere to what they say. So this is why you watch those international companies. It'll be nice to have TikTok traded under a company like Microsoft, or Microsoft and Walmart. But at the same time, I think it's what a twist it took this weekend. How much do I think DocuSign goes up? I think this is one of those situations where some of these COVID stocks have now started to find, and you can see it with Zoom. You can see it with a number of these companies have started to find, especially the technology companies have started to find a little bit of a base here. Same thing with DocuSign. We go all hot and heavy and really wanted to have this stock in the portfolio, and it showed it because it was the way we were doing business. Now the bottom line is that this business is being dispersed among others. Competition is coming in. I think you continue to see DocuSign head higher on a monthly and a weekly basis, but I think we stick in a trading range for a while. Gold and silver this week, I can't wait to see gold and silver. They're trading flat. Gold is right now pre-market. We're not seeing it go anywhere. It's trading sideways, but GLD starting to pick up. Last week, we started to see the dollar start to decline as well. We see a base, the GLD at 180, playing with the 20-day moving average right now. Silver a little more aggressive to the upside last week, and also these miners are starting to kick in above the 20-day moving average. You got to take out 26 on silver, and then we head towards a 28 print on SLV. Those are the ETFs. Obviously, the miners that I look at, Barrick Gold being one of them. I've got positions in the night trader portfolio in both silver and gold companies here, if you will, or exposure to those two metals. Barrick has been going a little bit sideways. EGO with a nice move last week that kind of came back again on Friday. It leveled out, but we saw a nice little bump above the 50-day, and then it's leveling out as it fights with its 20-day. The bottom line is the trade's coming back to a lot of these gold companies. Does a call option on Tesla make sense? If you're a bull, and I'm not trying to be flip when I say this, if you're a bull on Tesla, then absolutely it does. I think that Tesla is going to continue its move higher when we look at the stock. And somebody, I think in the feed said that they saw that Fidelity or somebody wasn't split adjusting the price until tomorrow. It trades today with those new prices. 442 is the price on Tesla that you're seeing right now, and obviously that is split adjusted. It looks more like Apple's price, which now ironically looks more like let's say Microsoft's price. I remember being long Apple at 140 or 120 and 130, and it wasn't that long ago. You can see right here in March, we were down at a split adjusted $60. So these are nice long-term trades. I think one of the other ZB was correct. 3 months from now, you're going to look at these situations and people are going to say, well, did the split do anything? Yeah, but no, especially with fractional shares. I thought it was funny that my feed this morning on Schwab told me that the split adjusted price, if you had fractional shares, which I don't of either of these, the fractional shares are just going to be multiplied. You're going to have the equivalent of the split adjusted of fractional shares, which who thought we'd ever talk about that? Apple, there's your monthly chart. I think we're due again for a little bit of a pullback here. It's not going to be a 20% pullback to 100. That's where you would think it's going to be, but it's not. It's going to be maybe 110 or so, which would be equivalent to a nice little 10-15% correction in the stock. Tesla makes sense if I look at it from a perspective of a call, just because look at this monthly chart, and this one's gone parabolic. You go out and give yourself some time. There's some competition that's coming into the area right now, whether it's NIO, whether it's Workhorse, whether it's all these companies that are going to have battery or hydrogen. There's going to be competition. It's not going to be from Ford and GM. It's going to be from companies that start just like Tesla, as a little spark and a thought and a dream, and boom, it's going to go like that. This will be a stock, though, that we'll be talking about $1,000 again over the next, year or so. It's not going to be that long. Long-term calls would play well on Tesla at any time. Ruby with the question, is it time for a VXX or a VIX call? My answer to that is that it's getting close. Again, my thought was that this is the volatility play. I was a little early on it in August, looking at it, playing it out for the last 2 weeks of the month. Here's your daily. Did I have it right? No, because there's your last week and we've flatlined. But I'm starting to see volatility. And when I look at the volatility of volatility, so a volatility of the VIX or the standard deviation, it is going higher, and it is always higher in September. That tells me that I'm going to see a VIX that's going to shoot up to 32, 35 or so. And that means that it is time to start looking at a volatility play. You have to watch your premiums on these options because they get priced very heavily based on the volume that is coming in from the pros. Pros from Dover run the show with the volatility index options. Right now, when I look at it, the October options are very heavily played, and you're paying for the premium there. Got to get a move quick on it though. How do we believe trading the gaps? How do we view trading gaps in stocks? I like trading gaps in stocks in both up and down. It depends on how my tests show. People in the night trader service can tell you we traded Camping World Holdings on not a gap, but a move fast lower, and then a move also on XPO, and both of those have been very successful. Gaps and large moves higher and lower tell you what the stock is going to do when you look at the historical data. Western Digital, WCE, one of the stocks that actually has been bumped up because their earnings coming out of that dip at $32, picking up above the 20-day. They've been in trouble because cloud has not been using the product as much. If you look at a lot of the cloud companies out there, that's another ETF. You can get some great ideas, these cloud ETFs. But Western Digital not getting the boom. They're in a market that's getting smaller. I don't like the stock longer term against the rest of the market. Does Salesforce become an indicator for the Dow replacing Apple? Yes, it does. It tells you two things also. The Dow is moving into the area of the market that I've been telling you. The NASDAQ 100 is the new blue chip index. You've got airlines companies in there as well, but you've got Apple, Tesla, Salesforce. These are larger companies. The Dow is coming up the curve. All they got to do is get rid of the stupid price weighting and start to do it based on market cap, and they really start to join the crowd. The Dow is trying to become relevant again in everybody's mind. NASDAQ 100, it's an indication right now for Salesforce in terms of it becoming part of a quote unquote larger group or a backbone stock. Give your thoughts on LRN. LRN, I can give you a technical stock read, the market opening as we sit here and talk about it. NASDAQ up 60 basis points. Watch the NASDAQ. Jerry's going to start talking about the NASDAQ pulling it up, and he's right. Lost too many ice cream sundaes on this, but you want to watch the IWM. Remember that, guys. Watch the IWM trading today, over the next few days. LRN, give you a chart read on that very quickly here. And it is Learn K-12 again. Coronavirus stock, and the reason that you're seeing this stock come down is because everybody's going back to school in the schools, the physical schools. This is going to see a little bit of a bounce as we see some of the universities and areas, schools like here in Cincinnati, start to question whether or not they're doing the right thing by opening their doors. I don't know if it's as much of a tradable situation as you saw in June, where it really went parabolic, and then obviously the market went dead on it, and the volume has obviously dropped back down to normal levels. Watch the 50-day for a trading, maybe a trading indicator or a trigger, if you will. Short interest, if I recall, on Learn is down. So you've got the shorts that have gotten out of the way here after it came down to 36. I'm going to give you a couple more minutes, guys, since we didn't get to do a lot of time on the charts. Call spread on the VIX makes a lot of sense because you get rid of some of the premium in terms of what you're paying. You're collecting some premium as well. You can bring the cost down. At the same time, you can take advantage. What I just told you, some of the strikes are more expensive on a premium basis than others. Buy it cheaper. Sell one that is trading more expensive on the premium, on the volatilities. Camping World is battling with its 50-day right now. I don't think it's on the ropes. It'll come back swinging. Marcus Levonis, the prophet from CNBC, who is also the CEO of Camping World, just put $1 million of his own money into the stock last week. That didn't make any headlines, but a couple of other people on the board selling made the headlines. I get it, but you know, you had an institution sell $6 million worth of the shares, and the price came down here. And it's because they said they were selling lower than the market. But then you got the CEO coming in and buying 1 million shares right here. So he bought 18% of what an institution sold. To me, guys, this stock, and it turns into a StrikePoint stock. When that 20-day turns back higher again, we're down at an RSI. I like the stock to still go to $40. And we've got Workhorse, one of my favorite to talk about, so I got to hit it. Workhorse actually coming out with a contract or an announcement that they are working with you got to forgive me, guys, I'm going off memory. I think it's Hitachi. and it was reported actually early Friday. The stock, you could see, was trading down, or late Friday was trading down to its 20-day. This is very much getting ready to break through that 18 level, as we're seeing that 20 and the 50-day give room for it to move higher or act as a catalyst. This has got a $20 price target on it right now over the next 4 to 6 weeks, and it could happen in the next 4 to 6 days, to be quite honest with you. We'll see what happens with a market that's trading mixed. CRBP, the target on CRBP right now is a 25% target on that. Let's not get too much into that because we can talk about that the 11 o'clock hour. I don't want to get into the night trader positions until we're talking night trader people. Silver returned to 26. Watch that to continue moving higher. Sale as well. When we start to look into the that alternative area, the sale point technologies, we're getting kind of out of that alternative, if you will. Like Cloudera too. I got to mention a couple of my favorites here as well. One up 1.5%. Cloudera making a nice move above $13 here. Should we hold the put or close and get in on the upside? BT, Ballard Power, BLD. I can't give, obviously, an individual on that. I like Ballard Power to continue making its way towards $18 here. The stock is, as I said, and I make jokes with it being the attractive cousin. It is the attractive cousin of Plug Power. They're working harder. They're trying to actually develop things instead of buy it. Plug Power has found that an acquisition model just makes more sense for them, and it's made more sense for the stock owners, of which I am one. I always like to make sure that I point that out. XOM, oil actually showing some strength here, and Exxon not getting in with it. Exxon is one of those companies that you have to wonder about. This is what I mentioned before. You can't really see it unless you're really looking close. At an 8.7% dividend yield, I always ask myself, what am I paying for that dividend? That's a great dividend in a 10-year market that gives you, 73 beeps right now? That is an amazing return in terms of a yield. But the thing that you're paying for it with, it is this, which is your price trend. XOM just trying to work to pay that dividend. It's going to get cut at some point, which is obviously going to have its consequences on the stock, because that's why a lot of people hold it. Don't like XOM over the long term. And let's look at the USO, because we haven't looked at the USO in a long time. I love the fact that I now have to expand this chart this much to get it, just because of that negative contango that we saw back in May and April when this thing, when crude oil contracts went negative. Anyhow, you've got a nice trend that's kicking in, but you've got no activity that's happening right now between Saudi Arabia, OPEC plus. It's kind of gone quiet. We're going to see how things turn out in terms of demand for oil as we move forward, and people's economic forecasts continue to change. Neophotonic has been sucky, and I wouldn't have used that word. And certainly, if you guys didn't catch it on TD Ameritrade, I was on last week on Friday as well, talking about technicals, and I think that'd be a great thing. I don't have the link to it. Maybe I'll bring it tomorrow, but I was talking technicals with Nicole. Right now, 650. I'm still long Neophotonic myself personally. Don't have a position outside of what I've recommended in fast profits. I think that the stock still finds a way to get up to $10. That earnings report really kind of hurt them badly. They're doing some acquisitions, so they're spending money right now. They've gone out and sold some of their shares. They're increasing the float a little bit because they're getting their shares out there. And at the same time, that tells you the company's getting ready to raise capital. I like the stock as a longer term play. It has not worked out for me as a short term. An investment, this is a nice long-term investment. Trading below its 20-day. If I've got I always tell you guys the numbers. There's your 20-day. We're going to close below it because today's the last day of the month. So we're going to have a first close below the 20-day. Last time that happened, you saw it in February. The stock actually rallied up through March and April. Am I saying that's going to be the case now? No, because you can see it closed down below it here, came back up, and then went back down. I think we watch next month in the trend here. Look at the weekend. Zach, the UDN is my hedge here on the dollar, obviously, and this is one of the This is also a fast profit trade. When we look at it, the UDN making its way higher. The next time we get announcement of any fiscal stimulus, it's going to take it even higher because the dollar is going down. That's also playing out to a strong silver and gold trade. Gold trading up, GLD trading up 16 basis points right now. SLV trading up 1.5. And again, the silver metal is a little more industrial, and that's why you get more of a pop out of it. Look at him coming in with the actual video. So there you go. Me and Nicole talking technicals last night. Thank you very much, ZB, for forwarding that out there. That is Nicole and I talking technicals. She got me to stay in the office until 5:10 or so, or 5:20, maybe even 5:30 on Friday. So those of you that thought that I was not working on Friday were incorrect. I told you. My night trader people, I wasn't with you at 11 because I was working, and I was busy working on something for StrikePoint, and that's what we were doing. Nicole got me in front of the camera at 5 o'clock, and because that's how I closed out my day. Love doing the TD Ameritrade. Love talking to you guys. We got to get to work and start trading, though. You got an extra 8 minutes out of me, more than 8 minutes, because usually I'm supposed to stop these at 9:15 or so and get you out in the market. I hope I gave you everything you needed today. Night trader people, I'll be with you at 11 o'clock. I'm going to have a couple more cups of coffee between now and then, so get ready to talk a lot of charts. We'll look at the positions. We'll talk about what we're looking at for the next week or so, and also going to drop maybe a few smaller names on you from the micro cap stock area that I've been looking at. I've been tearing apart the micro cap sector right now. Still showing a lot of activity. IWM trading down 0.5% right now. Market's trading mixed, sending some mixed signals. I don't know where Jerry is. I'd love to say that let's put another ice cream sundae out on the line, but again, I'm tired of paying for these mental ice cream sundaes. I don't know what your tally is. I hope you've got a tally sheet, because it's your responsibility to keep the book on those. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Or no, you'll be with DR tomorrow, Tuesday. DR will take care of you. Night trader people, I'll see you tomorrow at 11, and I'll see you at 11 here. And then I'll be back on markets open 8:45 on Wednesday. We'll keep it shorter, so we'll get to the questions. Maybe we'll do some free flow Wednesday. Have a great day, guys. Make a little money trading the market, then get outside and enjoy it, because it doesn't do you any good unless you enjoy it. All right? Have a great day. Bye-bye.